What happened to it? Why did it decline? Why did it fall? What do you guys think?
Unsuccessfully.
Okay, yeah, they tried to conquer Manchuria. And Northern Korea. And that's not how you spell conquer. Okay, basically, they tried to do too much. And they were overzealous in their attempts. Okay, they went hard and it didn't work out in their favor. And then they ended up being defeated by the invading Turks. And then eventually you have the Tang Dynasty that takes over in 618. Okay, taking a look at the Tang Dynasty and expansion. Which direction did they expand China in? Which direction did they extend or expand China? West, right? They made contact with India and the Muslim empires that we looked at yesterday. They also worked to influence Japan and Korea within Asia itself. Okay, what city became the largest city in the world at this time? Okay, what city became the largest city that the Tang Dynasty built?
Xi'an? I can't pronounce
Yeah.
it right.
Yeah, and Xi'an became the largest city in the world. Okay, it was a center for both the government and cultural learning. Okay, so if you were anybody in the ancient world of importance, meaning like not only Chinese, but there are also people in there from Muslim empire, from India, from parts of Europe, from African civilizations, and they all came to Xi'an to expand their learning. Okay, and then the Tang were also known for starting another golden age in Chinese history. So their achievements and their advancements. Okay, we have two major poets, okay, from this time period where we obtain a lot of work. What are their two names? Who are the two major poets in the Tang Dynasty that the textbook talked about?
Libo and Dofu.
Yeah. Libo and Jufu, absolutely. Okay. What religion did the Empress Wu like really embrace and push and grow throughout China?
Buddhism.
Yeah, Buddhism. It was embraced by Empress Wu, who, fun fact, was the only woman to hold the title of Empress all on her own, right? She didn't need no man. Okay. So she really embraced Buddhism. She grew the monasteries. Okay. So like where the Buddhist monks live. And then you have the emergence of a new type of Buddhism called Zen Buddhism. And that we really begin to see in Japan in later years. However, the government wasn't super thrilled after Empress Wu with Buddhism, right? They thought it was becoming too successful, too powerful. They thought the monasteries and the monks were trying to like take over. So after Empress Wu, the Tang Dynasty really worked to kind of diminish Buddhism. So they persecuted Buddhists, arrested them unfairly, treated them harshly, and they brought back what religion instead?
Neo-Confucianism.
Yeah, Confucianism. And so they felt threatened by Buddhism, so they brought back Confucianism in a new form that we call Neo-Confucianism. Absolutely. So why did the Tang Dynasty fall? What were our reasons for decline?
Weak rulers.
Yeah, right. So there was a series of weak rulers who just did not have it together, right? And under these weak rulers, you have a bunch of nomads that begin to invade the region, begin to slowly chip away at the dynasty or at the empire. And eventually, the emperor was killed by a good old-fashioned warlord. Okay? And this enters, well, then you kind of have like a period of war and conflict where there's really no like one main ruler in China. China's just kind of a hot mess for a hot minute. And then you enter the Sung Dynasty in 960. All right, what are some of the accomplishments in the Sung Dynasty? What were they able to expand?
Foreign trade.
Yeah, foreign trade. Okay, they looked at caravans that were coming from Central Asia and India. Okay, they were able to export what? What did they export? What did they sell to other people? What was coming out of China at this time?
Like gold, silver, and copper.
Gold, silver, copper. Absolutely. What's the last thing that they exported that was like super fancy and super nice and is unique to China? It's also called China sometimes.
Porcelain.
Porcelain. Right? If any of your parents or grandparents have really nice China, like fancy dinnerware that they only bring out at special times, that's porcelain. Right? It's called China today, but the material is porcelain. Okay, so they worked to improve the civil service system. If you guys remember back from Unit 2, the civil service system was that test-based system where if you were going to work in the government, you had to pass a test, right, to make sure that you were actually qualified to work in the government and not just daddy paid somebody a certain amount of money so you could work in the government. So the Sung Dynasty worked to improve the civil service system. How did they do that? What adjustments did they make to the civil service system? Okay, what do you guys think? What improvements did they make to the civil service system, or how did they go about improving it? What changes did they make?
Applications are signed by numbers and not by their names.
Right. So applications were assigned by numbers. So each person was represented by a number, not a name. So when somebody would see that like test result, they'd only see the number. Okay. So it creates anonymity with the testing system, so you're not like grading based on bias. Okay, what else did they do? How else did they improve the civil service system?
They ended the need for sponsorship so that everyone could get it, not just the rich people.
Absolutely. Okay, so they ended the need for sponsorship. So it was now based purely on intellectuality. It had nothing to do with the amount of money that your family had. What else? Okay, what else did they do to improve the civil service
The
system?
clerks copied their answers so that the handwriting could not be recognized.
Yeah. So the clerks copied answers. So like today, when you guys take standardized tests, like when we took the like pre-ACT or whatever, you fill out bubble sheets. Okay. So everybody's answers look the same. Essentially, that's what they were doing. Okay. The clerks copied answers, so everything was in the same handwriting. All right. What else? What else? How many people graded each paper? How many people graded each paper or read each paper?
3.
3, right? You had 3 judges read each paper. So all of this meant that they were trying to reduce cheating and make the government more effective. Okay, so instead of people getting paid or paying money to try to get into the government, now government was ruled or controlled by people that actually deserve to be there. Absolutely. Okay, taking a look at inventions. Okay, what 2 major things were invented during this time period?
Printing.
Okay, so printing with paper and ink. And what else? What's the other major thing that was invented during this time period? Or that was first used, I should say, not invented, but first used in war or battle.
Gunpowder.
Gunpowder. Powder. Okay. Perfect. Gunpowder was first used in battle. Okay, let's break down peasant life versus city life. So in the countryside, for peasants, they worked to improve farming with water control projects, and a new type of rice that had higher yields, which meant that they could sell their surplus at the market and make money. However, what did the government institute that really kind of wreaked havoc on the peasants? They created higher what?
Taxes.
Yeah. All right. Higher taxes meant that if you couldn't pay your taxes, you had to sell your farm and become a tenant farmer. Okay, city life. How was the city? Was the city really slow and relaxed, or was it super upbeat, busy, chaotic? What do you guys think? How was the city? chill, relax, nothing going on? Or was it dealing with overcrowding and pollution? We got 3 minutes, guys. We'll get as far as we can. But whatever we don't finish is on you. Okay, so how do we describe city life?
It was busy.
Yeah, right. City life was busy. They dealt with overcrowding and pollution. So if you were wealthy, you had a nice home, no big deal, right? If you were a normal person, you lived in crowded apartments. And then if you were poor, you were homeless. And so the city life in the Sung Dynasty was very similar to what city life was like today in a lot of modern countries. Okay. And then finally, you have the process of foot binding among women in the wealthy homes, because women in the wealthy homes really didn't have roles anymore. They hired out people to clean their house and cook their meal and take care of their children. So they started this process of foot binding that was like actually physically wrapping your feet to make them smaller. So this was where the notion of small, petite feet were beautiful in Asian society came from. So it goes back to the wealthy people in the city during the Sung Dynasty. Okay, taking a look quickly at accomplishments for the Mongols. Right? They extended the Grand Canal. They created trade routes with Persia and India. They improved communication throughout the empire, but they also imposed heavy taxes. Contact with Europeans. Both the French king and the Pope sent ambassadors. So people to kind of like represent them and learn from the dynasties. You have a series of Christian missionaries that made their way over that tried to influence Christianity. But then the most important contact with Europeans came from Marco Polo. And he was a European explorer who spent 17 years traveling around China and documenting his travels and writing down all about these Chinese inventions. So it's like he wrote in his book about the use of gunpowder and about printing and all these things. And then the Europeans largely ignored what Marco Polo wrote until the Renaissance, when they figured out how to create these things on their own and claimed like, hey, we're the first ones to do that. Right? Marco Polo was like, actually, the Chinese did it like hundreds of years ago. Quickly to wrap up Chinese-Mongol relations, the Chinese and the Mongols do not really get along. Okay? They spoke different languages. Only Mongols and non-Chinese could participate in the government, and Mongol law was harsher on the Chinese compared to the Mongols. And finally, Mongols and Chinese could not intermarry. And so they couldn't come together. And they had to be completely separated. So, what your homework assignment is for tonight is the chapter 12 vocab terms in the Friday folder. Okay. So make sure you turn in your Chinese Dynasties worksheet. You'll get 5 points for participating today. But then your homework assignment is Chapter 12 terms. Okay. Again, all late and missing assignments are due Monday at 3 p.m. I posted Mr. Husko's contact information at the top of Schoology, so you guys have it. I will update grades again on Sunday night before I officially go on leave. Otherwise, let me know if you have any questions. You guys have 2 days after this. I don't think there should be any issues. Thanks for a good trimester. 6 weeks went fast. Hopefully, I will see you guys in try 3 when I get back. Otherwise, that's what I got. Okay. See you later.
See ya.
Bye.
See ya.
See ya.